Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Review. I'm Phil Hargis. It's good to see you again. Alongside of me is a new co-host tonight, Matt Vaughn. Matt, it's good to see you again.
Good. I appreciate being here, Phil, and I know all my fans are very excited to see me back after that big write-in campaign. Thanks a bunch, Lippy Screw, James Dalton, and Panateam for getting me back on the air.
I didn't realize you had so many fans, but it's been a few years since you've been on the show, but it's great to have you back on. I wasn't going to waste too much time getting you back on, but Matt is the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys now. So congratulations on your job. How's the position looking, and what are we looking forward? What are we looking forward to this year?
It's looking great. We're looking Dez Bryant, lots of touchdowns, probably 16 plus. We got a little iffy running game, but that's good for me to get my touchdowns.
Okay, well, these guys sit next to you here. We have a full house tonight for you. So let's go ahead and blow up everybody here. We also have Mike Malik and Nathaniel Long back there on the far end.
Back again, round two.
Back in the house. It's good to see you guys again. What are you guys up to tonight?
Thanks for having me, Phil. First time here, but I watch the show a lot and gonna bring a lot of new ideas to your show.
You probably are the number one fan. You watch the show all the time. What is your favorite part about this show?
It was it actually was the Weather Ladies, but you haven't had them in a while, so you might have to bring some Weather Ladies back.
We're going to have to find some weather ladies. I like that idea.
We'll get to work on that, too. And Nate, it's good to see you again, man.
Happy to be here.
We have a lot of fantasy football to talk about this week. Another week has come and gone since last week's show. There's been a couple injuries, like the Julius Thomases, maybe there's Travis Kelce's. The tight end position has been there's the Randall Cobb thing with the shoulder. Are these guys you're afraid to draft at this point? Julius Thomas, Randall Cobb, Travis Kelce? Or is it okay just pick them up and then deal with them later on in the season?
I think it kind of depends on the injury, what you're looking at. If you're looking at something like an ankle, ACL, MCL, something like that can keep them out for an extended period of time, you still could pick them up for something later, but you definitely have to hedge your bet. Try to pick someone else up that's going to carry some of the weight in the beginning of the season.
What happened to Kelce? I didn't even know he got injured.
Well, you should follow the news a little bit more closely. It's not like a significant injury, but
I would have no problem.
I'm not talking about your daughter. You were talking about Travis Kelce.
I would have no problem drafting him. I'd have no problem drafting Julius Thomas if it's after the 5th or 6th round.
Sometimes with those feet, you got to watch out, though. And I think Julius Thomas has an issue with his foot. Is that correct?
He has
thumb surgery, or wasn't it a finger?
He has surgery that's going to keep him out for 5 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
I don't know the specific injury, but it's very serious.
I will say,
so he's missed half the season, basically.
I heard Randall Cobb was supposed to be good for week 1.
He'll probably be good to go for week 1 or 2, but
I would take Cobb all day long.
Yeah, we know you love your Cobbs. They're very good for you, and they've treated you well over the years. So here's an interesting situation that happened to me in a draft the other night. A very high stakes, reputable league. Where I was in this league and they were drafting, and the draft had proceeded, and the first pick had been made, the second pick had been made, and then I was listing players that I would rather draft over Odell Beckham Jr. And then the commissioner of this league from the online league started saying, "Hey, you can't talk about people that have been undrafted." Is that bad etiquette to talk about people that haven't been drafted?
It's not.
Or is it fair game?
It's not a poker table. It's not like talking about your hand.
I disagree.
Hold on, Malik. I want to hear what Matt has to say.
It's a bunch of crybabies because they want the player, so they're worried you're going to talk about them, and then someone else is going to pick them. It's a bunch of crybaby. You can do whatever you want. It's not. We're not in Atlantic City talking about our poker hands.
Go pound sand, right?
Go pound sand, man.
It's all about playing the game. It's all about playing the game. And if you can play the game and you can get someone that you want to drop later in the draft, and you can get them for a better price in an auction draft, then go for it.
That's exactly what I was saying.
See, I think in the first couple rounds, obviously everybody knows the players, but once it gets to the 6, 7, 8, I don't like when people start what about this player? And because especially if you're coming up. But if you're coming up to draft, you just want to grab that guy and be like, that's the guy I was just about to take. Now you're telling everybody about it ahead of me, and most of the times the guy goes on before you can get him picked. So I just think that
does it work
after the
both ways,
6th round, shut your mouth.
What if he's talking about somebody you don't want to draft, though? So he's saying draft, Tom Brady is still on bye week and they may be out for 4 weeks. Take him, but in the meantime you're trying to get Cam Newton or something.
It's bad etiquette, but by round 10, let's be honest. How many beers have you had? How can you contain, not being able to share that pick that you just want to screw somebody over for? So
we all know you love to do it more than anybody. Matt invented the concept of it.
I love it.
What do you think, Nate? Is that bad etiquette, or is it? If a player's undrafted, can you? like throw that player out for like other people to think about?
Well, listen, I'm a competitive person, so I think that any competitive edge that you can get, if it's dropping some bad information or, getting someone's testosterone rising up, make them make bad decisions, make them overpay for a player. I don't have any problems with that. I'll do it all day.
My favorite move is when you have someone who's a really nervous drafter who just can't make a decision and they're freaking out, and then you throw out a player that is like awful or has an injury, and that they just absolutely have to jump on them, and then everybody in the room just starts laughing because I can't believe you just fell for that.
Can't believe you did that.
See, I would say, Phil, for you, you like to do that throwing out people and messing people's game up, especially early in the round. So if it came from you, from me, I'd be like, it's just Phil talking his nonsense, trying to mess with our heads. But if it's a real football fantasy drafter, somebody who likes to just get right in there, like Panagoulias, he won't ever yell, but
Phil, he's
you always take his. Phil loves
No,
calling.
it's fine. Everybody knows like my game, and that's fine. But this particular draft, nobody else knew who I was, so like I was just being my typical self, saying I would take all these people over Odell Beckham Jr. I would take Jonathan Stewart over Eddie Lacy. I would take Lamar Miller over Eddie Lacy. I would take.
But you are a very declarative Odell Beckham Jr. hater.
I love
He
Odell
loves
Beckham
Odell
Jr.
Beckham. He's gonna take
I'm
number
telling
one.
everybody for the rest of
He's
my
a
life.
hater.
In
ODB hater.
2015,
ODB hater.
Odell Beckham is the worst pick ever.
I disagree.
Okay, we'll pick him up. Tomorrow night.
I
in
think
the
if
auction
somebody
draft.
picks Antonio Brown early, C.J. Anderson early, those are going to be the guys who I think are going to fall.
But see, in this particular draft, we're talking about an auction draft that we're being tomorrow night. Like, you don't really know what the flow is going to be. I have the first nomination. I might throw out Odell Beckham. I doubt I will.
You're gonna
It
throw
could be
out
somebody
Andrew
else.
Luck.
We'll see what happens.
Well, once you
Malik.
declare right now,
I'm not gonna why would I do something that's
Live?
that's kind of
We're on
talking
TV,
about
man.
Yeah, you guys might be trying to put me on the spot here. I don't fall for that kind of BS.
This
like
is
you guys might
fantasy
think I will.
breakthrough news right now. Phil is going to nominate who for the number one
You
pick?
might have. It'll be Rashard Jennings. We'll see how he goes. What he
That's
goes
it.
for.
That's where it's
How
at.
much
I'd
would we
get-
bet on
I'd
Rashard
bet
Jennings?
$2.
How much?
$2.
$2, Matt.
I'll pass.
Okay, I'll bet on 3 and win them.
He's going to be one of those
That'd
guys.
be a good $3 pickup. wouldn't it?
He's going to be one of those
That would actually
guys,
be
though, that will
awesome.
go
That'd
up
be a
for a
great
dollar.
$3
Yeah. He'll
For
be
a
one of
starting
those.
tailback.
Yeah.
I'd take that all day.
He'll be one of
yes.
those guys who makes it till the end, till the $1, $2, $3 picks.
All right, you guys. So you guys have done a couple drafts. Who's drafted the most recently? We want to find out how the drafts
I drafted
are going.
last
Who your
night.
team- You drafted last night.
Drafted 12th pick. All the picks before me were either running backs, one wide receiver, Brown, and one quarterback, Luck. And I went back-to-back wide receivers with Bryant and who is it? Denver's wide receiver.
Demaryius Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah, so
Sounds good to me.
I kind of felt pretty good about it. I mean, this year the most doubt I think is really in the running back game. You're not really sure. There's a lot of running back by committees. There's a lot of guys coming off injuries. There's a lot of guys coming off suspensions and all sorts of weird stuff. So for me, there was the most safety in my second round pick for a wide receiver.
Does it matter to you like the running backs? You said they're limited in availability. Like, does it depend on the scoring system, or is it just like there's 2 or 3 guys? Charles, Peterson, Lacy.
I'm always a running.
Le'Veon
I'm
Bell,
a
and
running
that's it?
back guy. Like I always think I can get value in wide receiver and quarterback. So I'm always a running back guy. But at this point in the draft, the value was wide receiver.
Yeah, number 12. Are you gonna ever take a running back at that position?
Number 12? Who would you tell? I don't know. I agree with Matt, though. I think in the running backs, you got like 3 or 4, and then you get like DeMarco Murray changing teams, even though he was a leading rusher. You got McCoy changing teams. He got a little hurt. So the big running backs this year, you never know. Some of your middle of the packs might just be as good as those guys because of their new team.
Jeremy Hill is supposed to have a good season this year. That's kind of what all the pundits are talking about. And I look for him to have a good year with Cincinnati. Andy Dalton is just completely unreliable. A.J. Green, he's a great receiver. He's had some drops in the preseason. They're going to rely on Jeremy Hill to carry the load, especially early in Cincinnati.
Except that you got to worry about the vulture. You got Giovanni. He might steal the catches.
He's
He
not
might-
really a vulture though.
He
Is
could. He could be.
He didn't make it into the end zone too many times last year. Jeremy Hill seemed to be. They'd get down to the 5-yard line. Jeremy Hill would punch it in from there.
Yeah, if I drafted Giovanni, I would think that Hill would be the vulture. But if I got drafted Hilter, I'd feel pretty good about him getting like.
I had Jeremy Hill last year, and in one of my leagues that I won, it definitely was awesome to have him toward the end of the
Right,
year. I had
right.
him and Calvin Johnson both started clicking at the same time, and I rode them with my quarterback to the championship.
Can he do it again, though? That's the key, is can he do it again?
Well, he had a breakout year, but it wasn't like a leading the pack year. And I think he's still waiting for that leading the pack year. And he's shown the potential that you have to kind of put your faith somewhere. You have to kind of decide who's going to carry it, who's going to rise to that next level. And I think Jeremy Hill's a good candidate for it.
I like that guy a lot. His schedule scares me. I looked at it before, and I've done my math, and he scares me. But, you know, he's a great back. I mean, I'd love to pick him, but
He gets long touchdowns. He can break. That's the thing about him, is he can break tackles and get those 30, 40-yard TDs, where some running backs, once they get hit, will just fall right down. And, you know, if they don't get you a 10-yard, you know, some running backs have, one touchdown over 10 yards? Jeremy Hill can get you 5 over 30 yards. I mean, if he has that great of a year.
Let me just change the subject to a wide receiver that I think is poised for a breakout year, and Jeremy Maclin over in Kansas City. He's got Alex Smith, the only target for Alex Smith. And Alex Smith, yes, last year was a struggle for him, not throwing any touchdowns to wide receivers. But Jeremy Maclin, I think he's going to get a ton of receptions this year. Definitely some touchdowns as well in there. So he's one of my picks for a good, fourth round pickup.
This is a little overvalued for me. I think he's going to get 6 or 7 touchdowns, probably maybe 1,000 yards, maybe 70 catches, which is not bad. But, you know, there's vultures there, too. I mean, you got the running back catching passes. You got Kelsey supposed to be making his big breakout. So, and then you got, a quarterback who, if he throws 160 yards, that's a good game for him.
Does he get punt return and
Real
kick
quick.
return?
Let me throw out 5 receivers here, and you tell me the order that you would like to draft them. Okay. You've got Maclin, you've got Jarvis Landry, Golden Tate, Andre Johnson, and Jordan Matthews.
I would take Andre Johnson of all those first.
You're going to take the old guy?
I think he's going to be phenomenal.
he's got to catch some
Indianapolis.
touchdowns in that team.
That offense is going to click and just they're going to be a scoring machine. Luck, Hilton, Dwayne Allen.
But that ball's going to get spread around. T.Y. Hilton's going to get some of those long balls. Andre Johnson maybe get some of those
tight
jump
ends will
balls.
get some balls too.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be spread around a little bit.
I'm a taint guy myself. I always go taint.
You're gonna taint yourself?
So,
You like the golden?
Is that
you like
Jordan?
the Golden Tate?
Is that
Golden Tate?
I do like Tate.
Jordan Matthews will be
You know
good.
you like
Jordan
taint.
Matthews? Yeah, I like Jordan Matthews. Golden Tate was just so great last year, but that was
Yeah.
without Calvin. So
They'll just be solid. Calvin Johnson to me is still one of the top 5 receivers. So I think that he's going to get most of the looks if he's healthy. And they got that new running back, the rookie, who should be okay. And their tight end. Did they just get a new tight end? I thought they signed somebody. I don't remember his name.
Somebody's got to take over.
Tyler Eifert, or was he at Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
So I just think their offense is going to be like last year, maybe a little better, where Stafford to Johnson and.
I think this Macklin's one of those guys that trades teams. He gets the contract and falls off. I mean, it's so.
Yeah, but he's back
It
with
just
Reed.
happens all the time.
Gotta remember, he's back with Andy Reid this year, and he had some of his best years under Andy Reid.
And he's bringing those guys back, isn't he? Andy
Well,
Reid.
look at his
I mean,
preseason. His preseason was awesome. He had a great preseason.
And
Caught
he
a lot
did.
of balls from Alex Smith.
In that last game, he had 7 catches, and then you can't sneeze at that.
No. It gives you an idea of the type of chemistry that I think you're going to see through the season. And
that's
there's
kinda-
no one else to throw to other than Jamal Charles.
And that's the kind of guy that Alex Smith has been thirsting for, is a guy like Jeremy Maclin maybe, because Dwayne Bowe was never that guy.
No.
And they try to make him.
They never were on the same page.
So I think that that's a good predicament to be in. I'm not a big fan of drafting Jeremy Maclin, but I certainly understand if you want to take a chance on him, because the upside is there, and he's obviously one of the most explosive players in that category, and that being drafted in that position in the 3rd or 4th round. But moving on to the next round, we can start talking about situations that you're getting where you need to start taking tight ends, or your second running backs, guys like Delanie Walker, Kyle Rudolph, Doug Martin. Maybe a guy like Gurley. Do you want to take a rookie running back, or what do you guys think about that, Nate?
Well, I expressed my opinions on Gurley last week.
That's a good point. Let's talk about the guy that drafted him. Was that you?
I didn't draft Gurley. I ain't touching him. I drafted Trey Mason. I don't know why, but I didn't know he was banged up. If he's banged up and Gurley's coming in early like he's supposed to maybe start week 1, then...
Well, I think the
knows?
last thing that I heard was Gurley was not coming in until week 3 or 4 at the earliest, and Trey Mason's supposed to start the season, so...
So they have a bunch of injury situations to deal with.
Yeah, it sounds like a weak tailback team right now, which they thought it was going to be the strong point.
But that's an exciting situation for a guy like Nick Foles.
I suppose so, if you have faith in your arm.
Does anybody have faith in that guy anymore?
I like
Or
Nick Foles.
Is he going to be a good pickup, or is that just like a diamond in the rough?
I mean,
like, you know?
If you're talking fantasy-wise, I think he's going to be probably somewhere between, 13 and 18.
He was an 18th round pick in this draft.
You
I
know?
think.
He's going to be a mid-level quarterback. But St. Louis has good
17th
receivers.
round.
They have a decent team,
They're
good
not- they don't have
offense.
any good
So
receivers.
Tavon
Brian
Austin,
Quick, Tavon
Chris
Austin.
Gibbons. I mean, they're decent.
Neither of those guys good.
Well, I think one of the big issues is their offensive line, and that's kind of where it starts on offense. If you have a shitty offensive line, then the rest of the team is just going to kind of fold. And that's what happened to Sam Bradford. He couldn't stay healthy. He couldn't keep his knees intact because the offensive line didn't give him time and couldn't keep the defensive lines away from him. So, the tailback's going to suffer with a bad O-line, and so are the wide receivers because you can't run any long routes.
All right, so speaking of bad O-lines then for you two, or you, Matt, what do you think of Arizona then with Carson Palmer? And you think their O-line's going to be able to keep him healthy and have the kind of year they had with him last year?
That's a tough one.
I think. I mean,
They don't look good at all.
Nah, I think he's fine. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he won't stay healthy, and it kind of almost sets them back to have him come back because it won't let him move on. It's kind of like this girlfriend you got, and you can't dump her. She's cute, she's nice, but she's always giving you problems. And so I think they could have a clean break with this guy. It'd be much better for their future quarterback relationships.
But they don't have a quarterback on the roster to take his spot.
I
so
know, but they
that's the
haven't
thing.
been pursuing. They're not available to pursue new quarterbacks because
They're
they got
holding
this.
themselves back.
They got Carson Palmer as this old girlfriend. They got to dump him.
Oh,
Who
man.
costs a lot of
But
money.
But the rest of the guys,
It's cheaper to keep her.
their offensive line is going to be terrible, right?
Oh, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
I mean, I love my Raiders, but my Raiders starting defense chewed up.
That was a preseason
Arizona.
game, I
It was-
agree, but-
it was starting offense for a starting defense.
I know it was, but they were terrible. I mean, it's a tough.
Maybe the Raiders'
tough to
defense
draft
is a little bit
Cardinals.
better this year than people are going to give them credit for.
Nobody wants to draft Cardinals. Like, is there anybody there you really want to draft?
I got
Jeff
Ellington.
Fitzgerald.
I got.
But see, that's the
think
thing.
Floyd,
Are
I
you
mean,
concerned about the offensive line situation?
I mean, these aren't my guys I'm depending on to win my league.
He's your fourth
But
round pick or something, right?
if they come out, I mean, they're good value picks.
He's a good value pick,
Yeah.
regardless.
I
Of
mean,
what
if
might
they do
happen.
great, great. If they don't do great, I'm not losing my
A
league.
good
over
running
it.
back will always succeed no matter how bad
Hey,
the
the
line
best
is.
value on
And
that team.
and I think if you can pick up John Brown in the
That's-
6-7,
Yes!
Who I was about
that's
to
a great
say.
pickup in round 6-7.
Don't tell these guys that. I'm
I was
drafting
just
you.
about to say that. I was going to say the best,
a great $6
the best player on that
receiver,
team might
Yeah.
be John Brown when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
That guy's
Although-
good,
He's going to
man.
catch the deep balls, and Larry
John Brown
Larry
is good.
Fitzgerald has kind of transitioned from the big play guy to the possession receiver, and he's going to continue to hold that role just because he catches everything that goes towards him. But you have to have someone that's going to stretch the defense, and John Brown is that man.
Would you rather draft Fitzgerald or Brown?
Brown.
Fitzgerald.
I'd take Brown too. And PPR maybe not, but
Well,
Fitzgerald's going to get his.
what are you looking for on your fantasy team? Are you looking for
Probably
someone that's going to be a
scores.
differentiator, or are you looking for someone that's just going to be consistent points? If you need consistent points, then go for Fitzgerald. But if you're looking for someone on your bench that you could potentially start because they start breaking out late in the season, then you want John Brown.
I like it.
Maybe a
I like
third.
John Brown a lot. I mean, that's a good. I think people are onto him, but he's still like a good sleeper pick you can get in the middle.
I mean,
rounds.
Larry Fitzgerald loved him the other day on TV enough to bring him when he was getting interviewed, and he brought him on TV and just talked him up big time.
Well, he's a
After
kid.
that
He's a
game.
kid that's hungry too, and he showed that last year. Really coming on towards the end of last year, I expect him to pick up right where he left off, and especially with Carson Palmer. I mean, that team struggled with 2, 3, 4 deep quarterbacks that were throwing bad balls to him, and they still were able to be moderately successful.
So while we're in that sort of that draft range here, we talked about this guy last week, Nate. I want you to tell us what you guys all think about Nelson Aguilar.
I have no idea who he is.
Who? Who?
Oh, is that his name?
He's the Philadelphia Eagles rookie that came in from USC.
Wide receiver or
Wide receiver.
All right, let's move on to the next
I
round.
mean, I don't know. I
Actually,
got a question.
I like him. I like him in the late rounds. I think that he's been drafted a little early. You know, I'd probably kind of put him along the same lines. I like Eddie Royal as well, like late in round
fast?
round 10, 11. He's
running back
fast.
guy?
Yeah.
Royal from San Diego is now a Chicago Bear.
Yeah,
I mean, I like, Cooper. You got Abdullah.
Riley Cooper?
No, Amari Cooper from the Raiders wide receiver.
Yeah, well, he's
I like
in the third or fourth round.
Abdullah, looking maybe supplanting, the running back in Detroit. I mean, there's some good rookies out there. I'm not sold on the Eagles. I mean, their quarterback's going to be gone in like week 3. He's going to be hurt. And I think like this, the coach is just thinking this scheme is going to be able to solve the problem. I think Dallas is going to kick their ass all over the field this year.
All right, take off that jersey.
Homer.
Objectionable stuff. Here's a guy I want to ask you guys about.
Well,
Tom,
I want to ask you guys about Carlos Hyde. Like,
I'm staying away.
San Francisco is going to suck this year, so he's going to suck too.
I mean, I think it's
San
there's good value in him, but
San Francisco's offensive line, they are returning 1 starter. They've got 4 new guys on the offensive line. What does that say? It says they're not going to have a lot of consistency, not a lot of continuity. They don't have any chemistry yet. Carlos Hyde, look for him to struggle early. Maybe they'll kind of get it together and start to gel later in the season. He might be someone that you would want to carry with you into the playoffs, but don't look for him to break out and have a great year.
I would try to stay away from as many 49ers as possible this year. I think is a good rule.
I agree.
I don't know who you really want on that team.
I can't think of
anybody. I mean,
maybe
Torrey Smith.
Especially, I was going to say, with Torrey Smith going there.
Okay,
maybe Reggie Bush.
Let's start playing this game 50-50. Okay, so let's get on to this drafting rounds. I had a great question for you guys both. It's either be Ty Montgomery or Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
I think it's kind of a toss-up in terms of upside. Ty Montgomery was a great player with Stanford, really has a lot of speed and explosion. Marvin Jones has been in the league a couple of years, has shown the capability of catching balls in the end zone. He's a big, tall, rangy guy. So it's kind of a toss-up for me. It would come down to playing time, really.
And who gets more playing time? And,
yeah.
and maybe if Ty Montgomery gets more playing time, it's the Jordy Nelson or the...
Where's Ty Montgomery?
He's the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay, yeah.
The third guy behind.
He's fighting for the third guys.
What about the double J rookie guy in Green Bay?
Janis.
That dude seems to be pretty legit. Tall, good hands.
Both those guys have been interesting in the preseason. It's hard to tell which one has the leg up, but it seems to be Montgomery now.
I don't think Janis has the stretching the field capability like Montgomery does. He's more of a possession receiver type guy. So Montgomery has more explosion capability, but how much is he going to see the field? That's
the hard question to answer.
There's a lot of decent middle tier receivers there at Green Bay.
Yeah, Devontae Adams too is supposed to be in line for a breakout year as well.
Right.
Everybody's so overdrafting him in this draft right here. He's going in the.
I don't think he's been overdrafted. I got him in the 4th round of my league, and that's perfect. I think. I mean, he's going to be a solid number 2. Rodgers likes him. He might be number 1 there by the time it's all said and done.
All right, so who you guys doing in the last round of the drafts here this year? You guys picking up players? You picking up defenses, kickers?
I try to reserve for kicker or defense. I mean,
any defenses or kickers you like this year? Or?
It's kind of a crapshoot. I mean, in a lot of our leagues, we don't even have kickers and defenses anymore because it's so random. I mean, I still hold on to that classic in my league. I still have them, but really, I just kind of usually reserve it for figure out who my kicker is, and then what their bye week is, and then my last pick I'll just get some other guy, or maybe I'll just pick one and then just pick up somebody during the season. It's kind of garbage time. I'm usually ready to go home by the time they're
shifting on to auto draft.
See, I will pick a defense or a kicker earlier.
For the same reason,
sometimes I'll pick my defense over a 5th running back or a 5th wide receiver if it's the 13th or 14th round. It all just depends on if you like the Seattle, Miami, those are my 2 defenses this year. So another one of them, then I'll probably wait.
That's a big draft differential too. You're talking about a middle round pick and then an end of the round, end of the draft pick.
I love the Miami defense just because they're going to probably stomp the Redskins so badly in the first
and then
week.
Jacksonville.
And then after that, it'll just be hilarious.
Well, stomp the Redskins and Jacksonville. They got a good matchup. So.
I mean, getting Ndamukong Suh, that's huge for them. A lot of people like Miami this year as the sort of Cinderella surprise, maybe beat New England for the division and make it to the playoffs far. So
It'll be competitive. They definitely have the defense to really stretch that AFC East to see who's the man in town.
All right, Nate. So I'm telling everybody. I told these guys earlier, like Cleveland is a good sleeper defense for the first part of the season.
Cleveland's defense is going to be solid.
At the start of the season, I'm not saying the whole season.
That's not just because I'm a homer and a big Cleveland fan. Their defense is tight. We've got some new rookies coming in that are really going to contribute. Just to kind of give you an idea, we cut some steady defensive linemen that we've had for years that have just been steady because some of our younger guys are coming on and playing well. I'm not saying that our offense is going to be explosive, and I'm not saying we're going to win a ton of games, but I'm saying that our defense is going to keep us in games and at least make it somewhat
It'll be
close.
low-scoring games, right?
I agree, yes.
So that's a good sleeper pick for you guys tomorrow night in our draft. Oh, wait, we don't use defenses, so you don't have to worry about that too much.
I won't pick their defense. I'd rather take my Raiders defense over Cleveland all day long.
All right, guys. So number one picks in the auction draft. Who's the guy you want tomorrow night?
Well, I'm not going to really tell you who I want, but I'm going to throw out, guys I don't want early, so you spend all your money on them, so then I can use my money later.
Do you think even if I knew the guys you wanted, I want to take your guys just because of the fact that you want them?
No, I know who you want, so I'm going to make you spend money on guys
Odell
I don't
Beckham
want.
Jr. I'm going to spend all my money on Odell Beckham Jr. That's my goal in life. $55 if that's what it takes, Malik. I'm doing it. Who are you going to pick tomorrow night?
I don't know. I usually go for one of the top quarterbacks every year. I like Luck, but this year I might just go with Wilson and Romo and go heavy on Eddie Lacy and running backs.
That's a bunch of BS if I've ever heard in my life.
Is it?
We'll see what happens tomorrow night, and we will be back here to discuss this tomorrow night too. Nate, you should definitely come by and check out our auction tomorrow night.
It sounds like a plan.
All right, man. Anything else we've left off the tables tonight? I think we've pretty much covered it all. The draft strategies for your drafts have come up. We've heard from everybody here all these different viewpoints, like what you want to draft. Nate, great to see you again. Mike, thanks for coming out on the show.
Thanks for having me. I might come back
Nate,
now.
always good to see you, buddy.
Always.
Matt, thanks
Good
for
to
coming
see you,
out. Mr. Vaughn, let's turn his jersey around. He is the real deal right there. The
Shout out to
is the
Tim
quarterback
Brown
for
making the Hall of
Dallas
Fame.
Cowboys. And thank you to Steve Vaughn for directing, and we'll see you guys next time on Fantasy Sports Review. Bye-bye, everybody.